So on page 24, to finish up 3, 4. Oh, this is so fun. You guys, this is not a typo. I'm saying two functions, f and the inverse, or f and g if they're inverses. Our inverse functions, does anyone know what if stands for? I swear I didn't make it up. I know I make up a lot of things. It's really redundant. If and only if. That's very redundant, isn't it? Like, so your math professor, your neurosurgeon professor might use that notation, but wouldn't it still suffice if it just said, if they're inverse functions, they are inverses if, when you compose f of g of x, you get x, and the same, g of f of x, we get x. If and only if, okay? You can use that. Yes. So let's talk about what the heck this means, you guys. It's saying go take g and plug it into f. And when things simplify, we need to be left with just an x. And you're like, okay. Let's first start with, here's f. How do I even find g or the inverse? G and the inverse are going to be the same thing. What's the first step to find the inverses? Switch the x and the y. F of x is just fancy for y. So how am I going to rewrite this? You know it, you guys, every time. You switch the x and the y first. Then we just solve for y. X plus 9 is 4y. You down with that? Mm-hmm. Then what's y equal?
Y equals x plus 9 over 4.
Yeah. You guys down with that?
Yep.
That's my inverse. Thanks, Mateo. Okay, so you guys, now you're saying, well, let's name this one g of x. Let's go name that guy g, just so that things are nice and clear. So, how do I do f of g? All that's saying is go take g, your inverse, and plug it into f. We've got to go take g right here, x plus 9 over 4, and we got to plug it into f where there is a variable. So, let's go say f of g of x is going to look like what? We got to go take g and plug it into f right there. So are you okay? If I say, all right, it's going to start with a 4. I'm going to replace that x with the what? Beautiful, you guys. What do I need to finish it with? Minus 9, right? Yay. And then, do things cancel out? Doesn't 4/4 cancel? And then I'd be left with x plus 9 minus 9. What's that going to be left with? Hey, that's what they meant right here. When I plug g into f, the inverse into the function, I need to get x every time. We just did. What we got to make sure to do also, it's annoying, I hear you. We got to flip it. We got to plug f into the inverse and also get x. I know, Sean, I hear you. I hear you, but we're going to do it together. We're going to take f, which was this, right? We're going to take this, and we're going to plug it in right to my inverse where there was a variable. We got this. We got this. 4x minus 9 is going to go right there. Eh? Okay. 4x minus 9. So this is going to be g of f of x. I'm going to plug the 4x minus 9 in for my x. So I'd have a 4x minus 9 that goes right here. Plus 9. Thank you, Mateo. Over 4. Hey, Mateo, what's going to happen when I have a... Uh-oh. What did I just write? I messed something up.
Yeah.
I put my 4x minus 9. What is this supposed to be?
I did that.
Woo! Koopy. Whoopsies.
That's what I did.
There we go. I had to put f into g. We okay with it? Yeah. Appreciate you, Blake. I appreciate you. Then, what's plus 9 minus 9? And I'm left with 4x over 4. Hey! Is that what we needed? By you doing that, we 100% got it right. Boom. Done. So I gave you the function. We got to go find the inverse. What are we going to start with? Switch them. Thanks, Tay. What do we got? X equals.
Y minus 3 cubed plus 4.
So good. You guys, we always start by flipping our x and a y. Let's go get my y by itself. Starting with x minus 4 is y minus 3 cubed. It's cubed.
Yeah.
Then what are we doing? Cube root it. Do I need a plus or minus in front of a cube root?
No.
Sure don't, because it's not exponent. We got a cube root of x minus 4 is y minus 3. Final answer. My inverse is going to be cube root
Of
x minus 4
plus 3.
plus 3 is outside of my my root. So good, bud. That is my inverse. You don't have to write this stuff in red if it doesn't help you. You don't have to. But if it does, write it. You guys. That's my inverse. In order to prove it, we're going to say f of g. And what that means is go take g, your inverse, and plug it into f. I'm going to take this guy. My inverse, I'm going to highlight it, is all this. And I need to plug it into f where there's a variable. Boop! This one looks a little lengthy. Hopefully everything cancels out beautifully. Beautifully. Here we go. Instead of this x, I'm going to write all of that. So I'm going to start with a parenthesis. Instead of that x, I've got a cube root of x minus 4 plus a 3. What follows this? What do I write after it? Minus 3, right? It's because I got to write this whole f equation. So then I have a minus 3 parenthesis. Then what? Cube it plus good. Guys, we do have to follow PEMDAS-y stuff, though. If I'm looking to simplify this, what would I do in my parentheses? Can't cube yet. What would cancel out nicely? 3 minus 3 cancels out great, right? I'm left with then a cube root of x minus 4 cubed. Yeah, doesn't a cube root and a cube cancel out? I'm left with x minus 4 plus 4. What are we left with? Sean's like, seems a little stupid. If we got it. I'm with you, Sean. It's annoying. Loves it. Above and beyond. That's his middle name. Let's go g of f of x. Let's go flip it. We got to go plug in g. No. What am I saying? We got to go take f and plug that in for g. You down with that?
Yes.
We got to go take f, which is this whole thing, and plug it in for g right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Does it cancel, though?
Yes.
Cube root. Instead, so I'm writing that little guy. Instead of x, I'm going to write, to your point, all that. X minus 3, cube it, plus 4. Whew. That just took care of this little guy.
And then you have to do a minus 4.
Under the root, very good. I got to put a minus 4 under the root. Then what else, though?
Plus 3.
Plus 3. Koopy, what happens right here?
That cancels out.
They cancel. That makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
Yep. And
Koopy, what happens with a cube root?
those cancel.
Those cancel.
And then
I'm left
and
with
everything cancels
x
to
minus
x,
3 plus 3, and I just get an x.
which is great. It's beautiful.
So on your homework on page 24, let's do 32. What's the first thing we do on 32 to find the inverse?
Switch the x and y.
Switching the x and the y. So we would say x equals 1 over y minus 1 squared. How would I get y by itself here?
You'd multiply by y minus 1 squared.
Agreed. You guys, you always multiply by the denominator just so that you can get rid of it. Psh, out of the denominator. It's kind of gross. We got a y minus 1 squared times x equals 1. Now we got to get y by itself.
Add x.
Do what to the x?
Add x.
It's being
Well,
multiplied, so we're going to divide out that x. What's up, Sean Bon?
Where did we get the y minus 1 from?
Oh, yeah. So, great question, Bubba.
because we switched the x and the y.
Yeah, right here, bud. This started as y equals 1 over x minus 1. So I switched the x and the y. Then I was getting rid of my denominator. So what are we going to do to get y by itself here? Square root. Square root. Do we need a plus or minus? Yeah. So we'd have y minus 1 is plus or minus root 1 over x. Final answer. What's my inverse?
Plus or minus root of 1 over x plus 1.
Perfect. I just threw my 1 in front. It's great. You guys, you can then use your graphing calculator to then graph that to see if it's a function or not, if it passes the vertical line test.
Oh, yeah.
Let's practice graphing it. You guys, there's no plus or minus button. So how am I going to graph both one? We got to do one as 1 plus root 1 over x and another as 1 minus root 1 over x.
Wait, is it 1?
That's what my graph looked like. It does not pass the vertical line test. Therefore, it is not a function. So now for your homework, let's do this back page. Here's the one that you're going to need to practice. Macy Tatum. This is where we're going to have to practice by plugging in the inverse into the function to get x. This is the only one.
Okay.
Okay? It's got some fractions. It's going to be hard. You got this. Ask me questions as we have them, though, okay? I'm giving you plenty of time, 25 minutes, because I want you to be able to ask me questions.